This is Leah Thomas all over again. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the ladies from the Roanoke College swim team protesting a biological XY male who attempted to join their team. Now, ultimately, he was not able to accomplish his goal, but the whole process of him trying to join and coaching drama and all kind of stuff that surrounded it did a lot of damage. And the women are saying, you know what, enough's enough. We're not going to stand for this. We're going to stand up and speak out for ourselves. And shout out to them, because I know it could be scary, maybe even dangerous to do a thing like this. And I can speak out against biological XY men joining a woman's team. I can speak out against it, but it's really going to take the women themselves to speak out on behalf of themselves to make a difference. Now, we're going to get into it, and this story is kind of important to me because I know Roanoke very well. You guys may or may not know I'm from Virginia. I was born in West Virginia, grew up in Virginia, but my dad is actually from Roanoke. So every summer, I would go to Roanoke and be there for a while, hanging out with granny, granddad, my uncles, cousins, and everybody. I know Roanoke very well. This is not some kind of super liberal, woke place. It's really a small town kind of city right along the edge of the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's not a place where you would think this kind of thing would go on, but I covered a story in Wyoming, Oklahoma City. It's all over the place, not just San Fran, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago. It's all over the entire country. Now, before I go any further, let's look at what's happening. You see, we have Riley Gaines. Of course, you may know her from the whole Leah Thomas kerfuffle. I think Riley Gaines was Leah Thomas's teammate or competed against him, her, whatever the pronouns are. Whatever I'm saying here that's incorrect, y'all please let me know in the comments below. But she was there to support these young women, and we have the young women right here. There's like a full hour and something press conference from the young ladies. I will link to that in the description box. But right here, you see them on the screen, and the caption says, the Roanoke College women's swim team is standing together now and saying enough is enough. This is what we need. All girls and women standing together and standing up for fairness, truth, and women's rights. I can't express to you how proud I am of these ladies and encourage all women's teams going through this to look to them as inspiration. They are fierce leaders, and I stand with them with the heart emoji. And I agree with that 100%, because being outspoken like this against a thing that could be considered an LGBTQ plus X, Y, and Z issue is scary, because there's a lot of lobbying power behind some of these people. There's a lot of dollars behind these people. You got the mainstream media, you got politicians, many of whom will be against these young ladies. So again, shout out to them for standing up for themselves. This is what we need a lot more of. Now, here's an article from Daily Mail. Let's check it out. Exclusive: Roanoke College women's team captains reveal demoralizing struggle to try and convince trans student not to compete on their squad. So it's not as simple as the so-called trans, and we're going to get into that because that's a story. The so-called trans student just wanting to join, and then he wasn't able to. It was a whole process that really was very difficult. And before I read this, let's just give a little bit of context, because they may or may not give it right from the beginning. This person was on the men's swim team at Roanoke College, and all the women knew him. And then he decided one year or one day to join their team. So this is not a person who came into the college, okay, I'm transgender, I want to compete with you guys, I want to be on your team. He was already there. This is, again, same thing as Leah Thomas, because Leah Thomas was on the men's swim team. Or was it at UPenn? He was on the men's swim team already, and then his 5th year of eligibility, his last year at the college, he, quote unquote, became a woman and then started shattering records. Totally unfair. We need to have men's spaces and women's spaces be respected, not just treated like garbage. I don't like that at all. Let's keep on going here. A member of the Roanoke College swim team competed in the men's competition, took a year off to transition, and in September joined the women. 3 captains of the women's team told DailyMail.com about the trauma the trans swimmer's decision caused and the agonizing confrontations that ensued. The 3 are now demanding that colleges nationwide provide a blueprint for dealing with such scenarios, arguing they were left to fend for themselves. Now, the blueprint should be very simple. If you are born with XX chromosomes, you're allowed to swim with the women. That's just it. Now, in that, you may have some women who are better than the others. That's just life. Okay? But you're more equal than not. You could be an extraordinary woman on a women's swim team. That's fine. But if you are an above average male or even a below average male, you could go to the women's team and perform at a tremendous level because of the biological advantages that you have that have zero to do with your actual skill. Okay? As long as you know how to swim and you're in decent shape as a male, you're going to have the advantage over highly trained female swimmers. And it's not fair. Let the women have their space. You go compete with the men. Now, let's say it's basketball. You got LeBron James and bench warmers. Just because the guys on the bench are not as good as LeBron James does not mean the guys on the bench should be able to go compete in a WNBA and dominate over there. It's just unfair. Let's keep on going here. A group of elite women swimmers at Virginia University, not Virginia University, that's a different place. Roanoke College is talking about, are demanding urgent action to protect their sport after a transgender student joined their team, leaving the coaches and athletes demoralized, angry, and unsure how to cope. The trans student informed staff at Roanoke College in September that she, whatever, wished to swim on the women's team after sitting out the previous season while transitioning. The year before, the trans swimmer had competed in the men's team. The case bears strong echoes of that Leah Thomas, who last year became the first transgender athlete to win an NCAA Division I national championship and set off a firestorm of controversy. Okay, so I'm not quite sure if this is them right here. So you have Kate Pearson, Lily Mullins, and Bailey Gallagher. These may be the captains. They are speaking out to try and push all colleges, universities to come up with comprehensive plans for dealing with trans athletes, arguing it was unfair to place the weight of decisions and actions on their shoulders. Now, I don't know if we have a picture of the swimmer. Okay, I don't know if we had a picture of the trans person. All right, but these young ladies right here are biological XX women, and they're speaking out on behalf of other biological XX women, as they should. Now, speaking exclusively to DailyMail.com, the 3 captains of the swim squad said they felt abandoned by the university and let down by the NCAA, National Collegiate Athletic Association. They described the stress of being told they had to confront the trans swimmer themselves and make their case, only for the trans swimmer to tell them she felt suicidal and was desperate to be included. Now, let me tell you what happened. The trans swimmer was saying, hey, if you don't let me join, I'm going to delete myself. It's like, how are you going to be able to deal with that? Listen, I'm just on the team. I'm just swimming. These kind of issues need to be handled by higher powers in the administration, not me. Why is it on my shoulders as a 19-year-old girl on a swim team to deal with this kind of political, not racial. They want to call themselves a person of color, like a minority by being trans, but that's a different story. I digress. Why should it be up to them to deal with such a heavy issue? They're not going to be the ones who are recruiting people necessarily. They're not going to be signing players to the team. So why should they be in charge of trying to get guys off the team? It makes no sense. Now, let's keep on going here. There are so many grown-ups around that should be making those decisions. Said Kate Pearson, 19, exactly. 19-year-olds on a swim team should not be handling these kind of issues. Exactly what I just said. 100%. That's part of their job. It was a hot mess. I was like, what is happening? We kept getting put in these situations, and it was so stressful. And every single night we were discussing that. I was going to bed at 3 a.m. just thinking about it, thinking about what would happen, what couldn't happen, constantly stressed, crying just all the time, every single day. We just could not get a break from it. And we got studies because they're in school now. They're not just women. They're in school trying to get an education as well over at Roanoke College. Again, Roanoke, kind of a small town type vibe, right in the mountains, essentially, Western Virginia, right on the border of West Virginia. This kind of thing doesn't go on there, but here we are. I covered the story in Wyoming, Oklahoma City. It's all over the entire country, all over the place. And if we don't stand up to fight against it, you're not going to be able to escape it. You can't run away from it. You got to fight it head on. Pearson said that they were calling on the NCAA and individual colleges to be proactive in dealing with situations. There's no blueprint for this, which is also why we want to stand up and get our voices heard, because there should be a blueprint for this kind of thing. All right. So that's what's going on. Now, I don't see any, that's Leah Thomas, of course, the infamous Leah Thomas, and that's Riley Gaines over there. So Riley Gaines was at UK. All right. Not, I think Leah Thomas was at UPenn. All right. So that's what's going on. I will link to this article in the box so you can see what's going on. Yeah, let's not have biological XY men compete against biological XX women. As I close, I want to say this. Shout out to these young ladies for standing up for what's right. You got teenagers, early 20s, having to do the things that the administration refuses to handle. If the administration don't want to handle this thing, when in reality, they're the ones who are able to decide who's on the team and who is not. Because last I checked, it wasn't the team members who decide who is on the team and who isn't. They're not going to be signing players. They're not going to be doing that kind of thing. All they're going to do is apply and get accepted by the administration. So it should be up to those same people that admitted them to admit or not admit the trans person. It's simple as that. So what they're saying is right. And again, we all got to fight this head on, because if we don't fight it head on, we try to escape, we try to flee. All it's going to do is follow us to wherever we may land. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what's happening at Roanoke College in Virginia? Again, small town, small city, right in the mountainous area. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This story is unfortunately becoming less uncommon, but in order for it to be uncommon or unheard of, we got to fight. And it's going to take those who are involved, the people on the team, to fight and speak out. Because again, the responsibility was laid on their lap to admit this person or not to the swim team, to get them off the swim team. It was laid in their lap. So if I'm going to have that kind of responsibility, give it to me. How about I also take it upon myself to make this be a real issue we fight against, not just here in Roanoke, Virginia, but all over the entire nation. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.